If you clicked on this video, you might be wondering, is addictology something I'd like to study? Hi, I'm Amelia and I studied addiction treatment and prevention, and in this video I'd like to tell you a bit about who I think would benefit from studying addictology and who might be better off studying something else. And of course these are mostly my observations and opinions, so it's not some hardcore rule. But what exactly did I study? Charles University is a public university you can attend in Prague, Czech Republic, and specifically addiction treatment and prevention is a program you can study at the first medical faculty. What I got is a bachelor's degree, but you can also choose a master's or a PhD. I was enrolled in a distance education program, but you can also choose like a traditional in-person program. Most of the classes are in Czech, so if you don't speak the language, you will not be able to attend. But if you do speak the language, one of the major advantages of public universities in Czechia is that you don't pay anything for the first 4 years of bachelor's and for the first 3 years of master's. But is studying addictology actually for you? Well, first things first, you have to decide whether you even have time to study addictology. And the time requirements are vastly different between the in-person program and the distance education program. For the in-person program, you have to move to Prague. Classes are basically every day and most of them require attendance. For this program, I think you might be able to hold down a part-time job, but anything above that would be a problem. The distance education program offers blocks of classes, so you can just travel to Prague whenever you have these blocks and you don't actually have to move. But choosing which program might actually be better for you isn't that obvious. In general, if you're just finishing high school, you don't have to work to support yourself, and addictology is the only field you want to study, then the in-person program might be for you. But on the other hand, you might want to do this degree while you're already working or you're studying something else, and addictology is just something extra. And there's a surprising number of people who do this. And for these people, the distance education program is a better choice. But don't be fooled. The distance does not mean that you will be studying from any sort of distance. You still need to attend your classes in person. These classes are taught in week-long blocks that are about 3 times a year, and these blocks mean that you basically have classes every day from 8 to 4 or 5, every day from Monday to Saturday. And apart from these huge blocks, you also have these smaller weekend blocks, but once again, don't let that fool you. The weekend blocks start on Friday. And in my experience, skipping any of these classes is a huge issue, so if you work, you will probably spend most of your PTO on going to school. And that's true especially if you count in 2 additional weeks for internships. Plus, you have to dedicate even more time for studying and writing essays and traveling to exams. But okay, let's say you've decided that you do have the time that you will need to invest in this degree. Is this education something you should even invest your time in? Well, I think you should really think about your motivation. Why do you want to study addictology? How are you planning to use the knowledge? Do you want to work as an addictologist? Do you want to expand your knowledge beyond what you currently do, for example, as a psychologist? Do you want to do research? Or are you just interested in the stuff and you don't have any other plans? That's also okay. Now, if you do want to work as an addictologist one day, you need this bachelor's degree. The profession is defined in the Czech law, and this program is the only program in the whole country that will allow you to do it. An addictologist is a healthcare professional, and as such, you can do various stuff such as diagnosis and assessment of patients from an addictology point of view, non-invasive sampling for biological material so you could test for drugs, and infectious diseases. You can prepare early diagnostics and intervention programs. You can work in prevention, counseling, and education in areas such as healthy lifestyle or reducing the harmful effects of drug use. You can provide individual, group, and family psychotherapy in the area of addiction, not general psychotherapy. You would actually need a different training for that one. And you can also work in supportive psychotherapy. You can instruct other healthcare professionals on how to treat people with substance use disorder and provide counseling for those people as well. Then there's this whole bunch of things you can do under a supervision of like a psychiatrist, which is mostly like designing treatment plans and assisting the psychiatrists in general. Now, from the specification in the Czech law, you can kind of imagine what the work of an addictologist looks like, but simply put, most of the work is work with clients, consulting and preparing treatment plans, or possibly like developing preventive programs. So it largely involves working with people. There are some positions in research, but honestly, if you have such ambitions, I would probably choose something else, especially if you imagine that your research would probably be in like a lab. And let's take a look at what you will actually learn in the program. Well, addictology is a multidisciplinary field and it covers basics of many other fields such as biology, sociology, social work, toxicology, chemistry and biochemistry, pharmacology, psychology, and of course addictology itself. And unfortunately, this means that you will learn the basics of like a lot of stuff, but you don't really have the time to go deeper in any of these fields. And to decide if addictology is actually for you, you have to think about which of these fields or subfields interest you the most. And if you're more inclined towards like natural sciences, I think you're better off studying something else. You can study biology, toxicology, chemistry and biochemistry on the Faculty of Science, and they also have programs in English, so you might actually be able to study them even though you don't speak Czech. And you will learn a lot more about these fields on the Faculty of Science. Plus, you will be better prepared for work in these fields, because you will have the opportunity to practice in labs and gain a better understanding of physiology of individual substances. Or you could do what I did and some of my classmates also did, and that is combine your studies. So I did my bachelor's from molecular biology and biochemistry and addictology at the same time. In our class, we were 2 out of 30 people who did this, plus there were also some doctors who did this. But if you're more interested in like the spiritual nature of addiction and any of the more humanitarian views and aspects of the issue, addictology could be a good choice for you. If you want to work with people and understand them on a different level than just like firing neurons and slabs of meat, addictology could be a good match for you. And the same thing applies if you want to do addictology from like a political perspective and from like legislative standpoint. We do have a lot of room for improvement. And as I said, an addictologist isn't a therapist per se, but studying addictology is a good start for your psychotherapeutic journey in like a specialized training. And addictology can also be a great complement if you're a social worker or interested in social work. Let's take a look at a little bit of statistics. Although addictology isn't as competitive as other fields such as dentistry, where they only accept the most motivated top students, getting into the bachelor's program isn't guaranteed. To be accepted, you have to score enough points in 2 tests, one from biology and one from addictology. And you can significantly improve your chances by buying these 2 books. All questions that can be on the tests are in these books. There will literally be no other questions, so if you just memorize these, you might be able to get in. There used to be an interview, but they cancelled that years ago. But still, the capacity is not endless. Last year, 35 of 212 applicants were accepted to the distance education program, and for the in-person program, 40 people out of 244 were accepted. To be eligible, you need to have your high school diploma or equivalent, and this equivalent has to be recognized by Charles University. Plus, if you don't have maturita from Czech or Slovak, you will also need to provide evidence of passing Czech tests on C1 level. And after you are accepted, you will need to provide paperwork from your doctor that confirms that you are able to work in healthcare. Studying addictology is also not for anti-vax people, because you need to provide proof or vaccination. Plus, even though you were admitted, there's no guarantee that you will finish the program. And in fact, according to the evaluation of the study program done in 2021, about half of the students don't finish. These numbers are a bit skewed. Distance education program students are less likely to finish, but many factors play a role in this. And I would say the inability to learn is actually a minor factor, and a bigger factor would be fear, because I've seen a lot of my classmates were afraid to take an exam. They didn't want to fail, so they just didn't take it. And then, when they finally were ready to take the exam, everyone was ready, so they didn't get in, and that did not go well. Plus, as I said, studying addictology requires a lot of time investment, and if you're an adult, you work, you have children, it's pretty hard to find time to do that, even if you want to. Some teachers also have a strict opinion about missing classes, but I'm not sure if anyone has ever been expelled for that. I think many things can be negotiated. But out of those who finish, about 58% work in the field. And as I said before, finishing school is one thing, but being an addictologist is something that might be a bit difficult. It's a different level of difficult than, for example, mathematics or programming, yeah, for sure. But being an addictologist means that you are working with people, and these people are suffering. They usually have really big problems, and you have to provide care for these people. And you sort of have to care for them, right? But you can't care too much. You have to have this distance, because otherwise it would negatively affect your mental health, and we don't want that. And in this last section, I would also like to tell you a bit about the finances, because I would say that no one chooses addictology to get rich, but of course you still expect some level of your lifestyle, right? Money is a useful tool, and without it, you will probably suffer. Well, if you do want to be rich, choose something else. As an addictologist, if you work in the public sphere, you will get these standardized salaries, and these salaries can sustain you, but you will not be rich. And according to this National Job Information System, an addictologist in the public sector can earn between 32 to 55k Czech crowns per month, which is a bit under the average. But to give you a quick summary, studying addictology can be quite time-consuming, and you should choose it if you're interested in the social and psychological aspects of addiction. If you're interested in the biological and biochemical aspects of addiction, choose a different field. But that's it for today's video, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, have a great day.